a light, bright version of the classic Spritz combination of bitters, sparkling wine and soda. The Aperol Spritz is an absolute crowd pleaser. The term Spritz has been around for a very long time and comes from the German for splash. The story goes that Italian wines were too strong for the refined Austro-Hungarian palates, and so they would add a splash of soda water to their white wines while they were busy occupying northern Italy in the 19th century. In the 20th century, the Spritz as we know it, so sparkling wine, Italian bitters and a splash of soda, came to be. Campari, Amaro Montenegro, Cynar, all of these make great spritzes as well, but Aperol, which is owned by Campari, has very aggressively marketed the Aperol Spritz, and honestly it makes sense. It's lower in alcohol, lighter in flavour, less bitter, and cheaper than most of the alternatives. This is probably the single most popular drink on the Bomba rooftop in summertime, and it does get asked for in a lot of strange ways by guests who have just discovered it. I think my favourite was trying to figure out what a people spritz was until they said the orange one, and I was like, okay. The classic recipe, endorsed by Aperol, is 3 parts Prosecco, 2 parts Aperol and 1 part soda, 3-2-1. At Bomba, we do obviously like to give it a little Spanish twist, so we use cava rather than Prosecco. That's a Spanish sparkling wine made using the same traditional method as champagne, so it gives it a bit more body and kind of a savoury minerality, which I really enjoy against the fruitiness of the Aperol, whereas Prosecco itself can obviously be quite fruit-forward. Cava does still suffer from a bit of an image problem, and so it kind of sits in the cheap and cheerful price bracket, but you can get some really interesting wines in this style. Definitely worth having a crack if you haven't yet. We also serve it with a skewered olive as well as the ubiquitous orange wedge for a little savoury pop, and because it honours the aperitivo hour that these drinks were made for. But of course, if you don't like it, then just leave it out. You may also be tempted to forego the soda for just more bubbly wine, and I totally get it, but it really does make the drink more refreshing. Without that little splash, the drink can actually be quite cloying. As always, we're gonna get our garnish ready first. This is obviously something if you do want to do it for an arrival drink. We do it a lot for hens parties and things on the rooftop. You can have this all ready in advance just to pop in each drink as and when you're good to go. So just a nice generous orange wedge and trim it down so it's nice and neat. Fish out a little olive, and then we're just going to skewer through there and into your orange wedge. Now, as we've explained before, we do film at our sister restaurant Nomada, so that's the little name there. And that's actually really handy because that marks 150 mils, which is the standard wine pour here. I know that's not the case in the UK, because a large glass of wine, which is 250 mils, is a thing. So it's 60 mils of Aperol, 90 mils of dry sparkling wine. And so what that means is that I can cheat because 90 mils will obviously take that up to the 150 mil line. Again, if you're doing a lot of them, I would recommend measuring maybe 1 or 2 just so that you can kind of start to see, be able to eyeball it. But it's not a drink that's going to be ruined if you have, 5 mil more of one thing. So feel free to just be a little bit of a cowboy with it. Then you need 30 mils of soda. Again, not really necessary to measure that, at least past the first one. Fill with ice. Try not to get it all over the bar top. Give it a little stir. Add in some more ice. Of course, as always, more ice the better, especially in the summertime. Then we just need a little straw. You can obviously just give it a stir with this as well if you don't have a bar spoon. Pop in your garnish. And it's good to go. The Aperol Spritz. So now you know. I mean, it really does just taste like sunshine. It's such a nice, bright orange flavor and that kind of the zippy bubbles. It's just an uplifting drink. There's no way you can be drinking this and feel unhappy. And obviously the thing that's awesome about this, Aperol, is an Amaro, as much as it's kind of on the sweeter end, it's still just got that awesome bitterness. It's almost that kind of candied orange peel. That means that it just makes you want to go back for more. You need that bit of soda in there because it's not at all mouth coating. Definitely a summer smasher.